Ah, I knew it.
Okay. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So, the last time we left off, we were talking about, well, what has colloquially been dubbed the ABCD or ABDC rule. We're going to get more into that. But along with that came like a mag dump of just new rule interpretations. Some of them seem pretty intuitive, and some of them seem strange. But I'll get more into that. I got a sanction match update for you, very recent. Happened 2 days ago. So I got that for you. Also got a little Glock 26 footage for those of you who are asking for that. So Glock 26 outfitted for some bug optics. Yeah, so let's take a look at a few more stages, and I'll come back and I'll give you the rundown on these rules and show you how not to get a penalty in IDPA.
Must have counted wrong.
Step out. You're not behind a position.
All right, so those are the stages with the Glock 26. I ran that at a Outlaw IDPA match. It was a good match, fun time. I really had been, I've been working on that Glock 26 for a little bit. Like I shot the Glock 26 in Bug Division in 2021 and kind of went away from it shooting. Since I don't carry that, and I don't work for the agency with which I would carry that anymore. So like I just don't have much of a real world use for it. So, but I kind of wanted to try it for Bug Optics Division and somebody in the comments was telling me like, hey, why don't you run the 26? Because that's, there's a ton of people using the 26 in Bug Optics. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. So I got it cut for a dot, put an SRO on it. So it's got an ungodly, huge dot on it, just like the one of the P365s. But I was really surprised at how soft it shot. I was shooting the CCP 105, 108 power factor ammo on it, and like there was a couple times where I almost stopped shooting. Like it's so soft, I thought maybe I was getting a squib. So I'm not sure I could run the Bug 95 power factor ammo in that gun. So we'll see. And I have a lightened recoil spring in that thing. It's right over there. That's why I'm looking over there. Anyway, more to follow on that. I'm probably going to do a whole video on just that, kind of review this setup or talk about it because it's just an interesting setup. But anyway, this last weekend was the South Florida Defensive Challenge. I got to see some of the footage. It was up real quick. Aaron, I'm not sure how to say his last name, Brulk, Brulc, I think. I saw his footage. He was shooting a PCC. Stages looked fun, looked like a good time. The weather looked good down in Florida. So yeah. So coming out on top of the CO division was GJ Ramchandani. I'm not sure how to say it. If I'm butchering your name, dude, I'm sorry. I've seen his name at the top of CO or of divisions down there in the southeast several times. And pretty much everybody else, I don't recognize the name. SSP was Adam Petrulius. So well done, Adam. ESP, David Lee. PCC, Brendan Higbee was also high overall. So, cursing and mashing of teeth from all the pistol shooters that a PCC took HOA again. CCP was Tyrell Cooper. I've seen that name a couple of times at the top of CCP divisions, mostly over there on the east side of the country. That needed to be distinguished, I guess. CDP, Sean Hopkins. I've seen that name too. I know a Sean Hopkins, and I'm not sure if it's the Sean Hopkins I know or if that's just a common name. But anyway, 146 total shooters, 3 total DQs. So not too bad for 146 shooters. Does not appear to be any gear check failures. I looked for DNFs at the bottom of the list and didn't see any. There were several deleted shooters, so maybe they told them they couldn't shoot and sent them home. I don't really know. I hope that's not the case. Probably not. Maybe just everybody passed gear check. I'm going to go with that. An interesting tidbit from the match that I thought was that 73 shooters in CO, 21 shooters in PCC for a total of 94 shooters, if my math is correct. Yeah. Using a dot. So 64% of the match was shooting a dot. So as we've said before, PCC shooters are just CO shooters that don't want to shoot a pistol. And so I count them in with dots because you get one. So yeah, that's a large percentage. I mean, usually it's like 50-50 between all of the Irons divisions and CO, but I think we're going to see that number start creeping up even more. And I think that this is a tier 3 match, so it's not a small match. 146 shooters isn't a small match, but I think that in maybe like when we go to like Rocky or Nationals or something, that there's maybe like, there's guys out there that'll go, because shit, I'm one of them. Like, oh, this CO's too big. I'm gonna try something else and see how I can do, see how I end up. So I think that when we have a little bit smaller matches like this and we see that number of dot shooters creep up that high, I think that is really revealing the sentiment of what IDPA shooters feel like they want to be doing, which is shooting dots, which is more evidence that like, hey, we need to be doing something with dots in different divisions. So moving on, the rulings. So if you're on the Facebook forums, if you're on the Facebook groups, there was an outpouring of rule changes or rule interpretations and people upset about it, people defending it. And some of them I will defend and some of them I will understand and some of them I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But so the big one, in my opinion, that we talked about once before was the, engaging targets, target, activator, swinger, static, or target, activator, static, swinger. Or as it's colloquially been called, the ABCD or ABDC rule. And the answer was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be that the swinger can break priority because that rule, there's a rule in the IDPA rule book that seems to indicate that, but that is not the ruling from HQ. The ruling from HQ is that if the activator if the activated target activates and it breaks priority, meaning that if I shoot the steel activator and I'm slicing the pie from left to right and the activated target is past where I am in priority, then I can break priority and go to it, but I don't have to, and I can continue on and then go to it. If it is the next target in the priority, you may not advance because they're determining advancing not only to mean advancing to another position of cover, but advancing to the next target. So you may not advance to the next target because they're determining that like breaking cover, and I guess. So if the activated target is the next target in the engagement priority, slicing the pie, or I suppose near to far, if you're in the open, that's going to be tough. But tough for the SOs. You may not engage the static before the swinger, but if it breaks the priority, you may. So a little bit difficult, and I'm going to get into how I plan to engage with that rule here in a minute, and then how I just kind of plan to engage with IDPA rules in general. And it's not any different than what I have been doing, but I'm just not sure that everybody's doing it. So, if this helps you, great. Ports or windows with less than 24 inches do not require a fault line. This is the next rule interpretation. And this is what I received as well as some other people. You may not pass by a port. Knew that already. You can't pass by a port or an opening without engaging targets that are there. You must stop at this is new though. You must stop at the edge of the window from the approaching side and engage targets in tactical priority, meaning that's vertical cover, and you must slice the pie. So you may not cross the opening, you may not partially cross and stand in the middle of the opening, or engage near to far. Okay, so I guess if there's an opening, we're still supposed to slice the pie like it's cover, because I suppose it is. We're just not going to, you can't get a foot fault, because how could you? There's no line, so there's no fault line. I mean, I guess you could put I know some people are putting like fault lines, down the middle of like the opening of a port, but I just kind of like this better. If you just leave the opening and then don't put a line, don't put a board or a fault line, then you don't have to worry about giving a penalty. Just, if they're a foot fault penalty, they could still get a penalty for not slicing the pie, I guess. Holding a partially loaded magazine. So this is where I'm kind of like, I'm not real sure what you're talking about. I think I know. Holding a partially loaded magazine, HQ has ruled that holding a magazine after a reload is a self-penalizing action and therefore not subject to penalty. I don't know that I agree with that it's self-penalizing. Like, it might be self-penalizing. It might be very beneficial. So I don't know. This does not apply to magazines dropped on the ground or staged magazines where the shooter leaves the position. Mags must be stowed if taken from that position. So they're saying that the penalty as applied in Rule 3.4.7, dropping a loaded magazine or loaded speed loader or moon clip does not incur a penalty as long as the shooter retrieves and properly stows the loaded magazine prior to firing the last shot in the string of fire. This rule only applies to dropped magazines and not ejected magazines. So if you eject a magazine and then continue shooting by loading another one, I guess they're saying that's self-penalizing. Okay. I don't know. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a time where that might be advantageous, but okay. So we're now distinguishing between a magazine that's been dropped and a magazine that's been ejected. So, okay. SSR division, it's been ruled that SSR division, which is stock service revolver. So for all of the two of you listening, SSR division may drop, that's ironic coming from the bug guy, right? SSR division may drop a single loose round because SSR does not have a speed reload option. So whereas a semi-automatic competitor would be able to load with one in the chamber, since they can't do that, they're allowed to do that. So they may drop a single loose round on the ground without penalty, and 2 or more rounds will incur a penalty. And I see that as almost entirely unenforceable. We're not like at an actual, like, you know, place where there hasn't been a bunch of shooting going on. There's like cases and rounds all over the ground. So you're gonna tell me that the ROs are gonna be paying attention and being like, no, dude, he dropped 2 rounds on the ground, so instead of 1, and go back to where he was standing and look like that's just not enforceable. I mean, like, it's a benefit that there aren't very many people shooting SSR. Even if people shoot revolver, I think most of them are choosing to shoot in the ESR category. We don't even divide that out anymore. It's just revolver. So all right. So all that to say, like, there was a lot of consternation and contention and angry voices and yelling and shouting and all over Facebook and all over at the local match this last weekend. Like I said, just a ton of confusion. And I think it's still a symptom of the problem of HQ makes a ruling, they send it to one AC who confers with another AC, and then it changes a little bit. And we're like playing this phone game where, like, you know, this HQ says this and it goes through this many people. By the time it gets down here, it's not the same thing anymore. Like, it's close, but it's like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, I think that there's got to be, I mean, it works inefficiently, but I think there's just got to be like some way that it's put out to everybody so that we understand, because this send it to the ACs thing, it just isn't working. So, like I promised, how to not get a penalty in IDPA. It's difficult, apparently, with the new rules, but here's what I do, and I do this, I've been doing it, like I said, I've been doing it for a while anyway, but whatever I'm going to do, and there's 2 schools of thought on this, like my buddy Josh, his idea is like, nope, I know the rules, I'm going to do what I know, behave or shoot in such a way that I know that is in line with the rules, and then if the SO doesn't know, like, then I'll call the MD over. I kind of go the safer route, where, especially with as often as these rules change, like, I don't want to be caught up, you know, in the latest rule interpretation that didn't get down to Washington or up to Washington, however you think about it. So I'll ask every time, like, will I get a penalty if I do this? Will I get a penalty if I, and I've had plenty of SOs be like, are you new? Like, do you, like, or why are you asking me that? That's so common. But I'm like, it's not even for me. I want to make sure that, you know, like, as the SO, like, this is what the rule is. Like, so like that way, that gives me the opportunity, you know, with a forethought to be like, okay, no, that's not what the rule is. Like, this is what the rule is, sir. And then if they're like, no, you'll get a penalty if you do that, or RAC has ruled this, or whatever, then I know, and I can either do it the way that they think the rule states, or I can call the MD and be like, hey, no, like, we need to talk about this further. And I've done that several times, and it gets annoying because, like, it's annoying to me, but like, it's probably annoying to the SOs because they're probably used to everybody's going, oh, okay, cool, and doing their walkthrough and leaving. But I'm like, no, like, that's kind of what you have to do to make sure you don't get a penalty in IDPA. So that's just the way that it is. Yeah, so that's about it. I've talked long enough. Texas State Walkers, Texas State IDPA Championship is this weekend. I'm leaving on Thursday, so we'll be down there Friday to take a look at the staff shoot, hang out. If you're around down there, if you're going down there and you're shooting your carry gun, come see me. I've got something for you. I've got these coins made up. They're kind of cool. I'll put a picture up there for you. And I've got some bug stickers. Make bug great again, courtesy of Paul and Anthony Vega, Paul G. So I'll put some stickers up, or the picture of the sticker, the picture of the coin, so you can see it. But come see me, and we'll talk. And I wasn't gonna say it, but like, I will include in a link in this to a survey where you can a petition where you can sign and say, hey, I agree with Joe Bodden. We want optics and bug. Sign it. And at some point when I feel like, hey, maybe we'll do this for the first half of the season, and then we'll send it off to IDPA and say, hey, this is the number of people. This is all of us that think optics and bug or optics in another division is a good idea. I put on there the ability to put an IDPA number. If you want to put your IDPA number, that's fine. If you don't want to, that's fine too. If you don't have an IDPA number and you just watch these videos because you somehow stumbled upon watching me talk about bug division, sign it anyway. Sign it if you think, hey, I would come shoot IDPA with my carry gun if there were a place for me to do it. So yeah, sign it. Sign it either way. So that's it. We'll see you in Texas, and then we'll see you, on another video.